It all started here, or should I say, this is where we can begin. A small village, tucked away in a forgotten corner of the world. A place so peaceful, it seemed untouched by time itself. The villagers led their lives in quiet harmony, unaware of the forces quietly swirling beneath their feet. But even in a place as serene as this, secrets whisper in the shadows. And in the heart of this village lived a young man named Xylen. Xylen, a wanderer at heart, had always felt that something was missing from his life. It wasn't that he lacked anything. He had a humble home, friends who cared for him, and a peaceful existence. But there was always a sense that something more awaited him, something just beyond the edge of the world, something he couldn't quite grasp. One fateful day, as Xylen wandered the forests near his village, a place he had walked 1,000 times before, he felt a strange, almost magnetic pull. At first, it was barely a whisper, a murmur in the wind. But as he moved deeper into the forest, the pull grew stronger. His footsteps quickened, as though his very soul was being drawn towards something he couldn't ignore. Finally, he stumbled upon a cave hidden beneath a waterfall, a place he had never noticed before. Inside, the air was thick with an ancient energy, an electric charge that hummed beneath his skin. The cave's walls seemed to pulse with life, whispering something just beyond his understanding. It was as if the very earth had decided to reveal its secret to him. And there, in the farthest corner of the cave, he saw it. A stone, unlike any he had ever seen. It wasn't a simple rock, but something alive. Glowing faintly, it hummed with an energy that seemed to resonate with something deep within Xylen. His heart raced, as if the stone called to him by name. Without thinking, he reached out and touched it. The instant his fingers brushed against its surface, the world exploded into light. The cave faded away, and Xylen found himself falling through a whirl of colors and shadows. He was weightless, as though time itself had lost its meaning. His mind was flooded with visions of places he had never been, faces he had never seen. Some of the visions were familiar, moments from his past, memories of his village, his family, his friends. Others were unfamiliar, wild landscapes, cities filled with towering structures, and a strange, burning light in the distance. But then, the truth hit him. These weren't just glimpses of the past or future. They were fragments of his own past lives, scattered like shards of glass. He saw himself as a young boy, playing in a meadow. He saw himself as an old man, dying in a distant land. He saw himself as a soldier, fighting battles in foreign lands. And in every vision, one thing remained constant: the stone, the Heartstone, always calling him. As the light began to fade, Xylen felt himself drawn back into his body, back into the cave. But everything was different. The stone pulsed with an intensity that seemed to echo in his chest. And suddenly, he was no longer alone. A voice, ancient and wise, whispered in his mind, "You have touched the Heartstone. You have unlocked the cycle. You will live many lives, but you will remember none. Every death, every rebirth, they are all connected. Your fate is now bound to the stone, and the loop continues." Confused and dazed, Xylen stumbled out of the cave and made his way to the village elder, the wise woman who knew more about the world than anyone else. She had always seemed to understand things that were beyond ordinary comprehension. And today, Xylen was certain she would have the answers he sought. "Elder," Xylen said, his voice trembling, "I found something. A relic. A stone. When I touched it, I saw things from the past, from the future. I don't understand what happened." The elder looked at him with a somber expression, her eyes filled with both pity and knowledge. "The Heartstone," she whispered. "You found it, and you are in the endless cycle of life and death." "Endless cycles," Xylen repeated. "What do you mean?" The elder sighed deeply, her voice heavy with sorrow. "The Heartstone grants immortality, Xylen, but it comes at a terrible cost. Each time you die, you will be reborn. but you will forget your past lives. You will forget the people you loved, the lessons you learned, the very essence of who you were. The stone draws you into a loop, a cycle of rebirth and loss, one life after another, with no end in sight. Xylen's heart sank. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Immortality. A gift, yes, but at the price of losing everything each time. How could anyone endure such a fate? You cannot escape the call of the Heartstone, the Elder continued. It calls to those who are destined to walk its path. And you, Xylen, have heard its whisper. But understand this, immortality is not freedom. It is a prison of its own kind. You will live many lives, but you will never truly live. You will be forever searching for something you cannot remember, something you cannot find. Xylen struggled to understand, but before he could ask more, the Elder placed a hand on his shoulder. There is more, she said. You will see visions, visions of the past and the future. You will relive moments that have already passed and see events yet to unfold. But these visions will be fleeting, distorted. You may see yourself in another life, or witness a future that may never come to pass. The loop will twist and turn, showing you fragments of time, but it will never reveal the truth. It will only bind you tighter. That night, as Xylen lay in bed, the visions began again. This time, they were even more vivid, more real. The cycle had begun. The next morning, Xylen couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. The pull of the Heartstone still thrummed in his chest. The Elder's warning echoed in his mind, but it was too late. He had already made his choice. As he stood by the lake that night, looking at his reflection, a figure appeared from the shadows. A tall, cloaked man, his face obscured. You've already chosen your path, the figure said, his voice low and cold. You can feel it, can't you? The pull of the Heartstone, the loop you've entered. You'll never escape, and you'll never remember what you've lost. Xylen stepped back, his pulse quickening. Who are you? He asked. The man's eyes glinted beneath the hood, his voice heavy with regret. I am a lost soul, seeking redemption. A warning to you, beyond your understanding. The figure's expression softened, filled with sorrow. You've already made your choice. The fragments of your memories may guide you to your purpose. They might ease your pain and reveal the meaning you seek. Only you can piece together the puzzle. Xylen stared at the man, his heart heavy with uncertainty. I have to know what is. I have to know what lies beyond this village, beyond my life. The truth. Before Xylen could finish, the man disappeared into the shadows, leaving Xylen alone once more, the relic's glow burning in his palm. The decision had been made. Xylen had embraced the unknown. He would follow the pull of the Heartstone, even as the cycle threatened to unravel him. Each life, each death, would be a new chapter, one that would never be fully remembered. But something deep within him whispered that his journey had only just begun.